your host, Bots.
What up? What up? Happy 4th of July. It is another episode of the W.E.S.T podcast, wrestling, entertainment, sports, and travel. I am your host, Mots. How y'all doing? Hopefully y'all be having some barbecue today, enjoying some fireworks tonight, and just kicking back and just having a holiday. Just a day to relax and unwind. A weekend, I should say, to relax and unwind. On a weekend where we can celebrate USA in the World Cup advancing to the round of 16. They will face, oh my gosh, Belgium, I want to say. That they face Belgium, I believe, in the next round. That game is going to be on Wednesday, I want to say. So check it out. Yep, it's going to be on Wednesday. So check that out and go USA, and also Mexico too. Mexico, Canada, North America is surviving and advancing. So on we go. So last weekend was jam-packed with a lot of pay-per-views, or PLEs now, as they're called, premium live events. And just forewarning, strap in, because this is going to be probably one of my longer podcasts, or one of my longer episodes. So we got a lot to cover. So we're going to start with Night of Champions, WWE. That was where Obafemi defeated Jey Uso to become the King of the Ring. And the King of the Ring and Queen would get the opportunity to face the heavyweight champion of their choice. Now, why I'm so hesitant in saying that is because although the winner of the King of the Ring tournament is supposed to get an opportunity to face the champion, sometimes it doesn't always go that way, as we'll find out later. The Queen of the Ring was Io Sky, and she immediately chose to have a rematch for the title against her opponent from Queen of the Ring, Liv Morgan, for her title. So that will be at SummerSlam. That's already booked. Moving on to TNA Slammiversary. Some of the highlights from that show: you had Apollo Crews making his TNA debut as Uhaa Nation, and he was in a match, a triple threat, with Mustafa Ali and Rich Swann for the International Championship, which Mustafa Ali got out of. He escaped with his belt. Also on that card, Ricky Sosa wrestled his first PLE and beat Eric Young, who is rumored to be going to WWE pretty soon. That's not in my reckless speculation. That's going to come later, but now that I'm thinking about it, Eric Young I've seen reports, nothing concrete. I've seen social media posts that he's asked for his release so that he could return to WWE. The main event, Nick Nemeth defeated Mike Santana to become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Okay, so from there we go to AEW's Forbidden Door, where Mercedes Moné and Will Ospreay both captured the men and women's Owen Hart championships, and will have the opportunity to get a title shot for the men's and women's AEW championship at All In London, or Wembley, I should say. And the highlight of the night, we got the return of King Switchblade. Jay White made his return during the tag team match, Cage and Copeland versus the Dogs for the AEW tag titles. For those of you that don't know the story, so the Dogs is David Finlay and Clark Connors. In New Japan, they were the last iteration of the Bullet Club War Dogs. And David Finlay was the leader. And back in New Japan, before he became the leader, or to become the leader, you normally have to kick out the old leader. That's Bullet Club tradition of the backstabbing. So David Finlay, who wasn't even associated with Bullet Club way back then, basically jumped Jay White or hit him in the back with the shillelagh when Jay White was leaving New Japan for AEW. So he had been the last leader of Bullet Club, and so that came around full circle. Talk about long storytelling. So that was great. And then also Team Mark Briscoe defeated Team MJF in the cage match. So Mark Briscoe is getting his title shot, and we'll talk about that coming up. Last but not least, the Great American Bash from NXT. The biggest highlight of that was Kendall Gray defeating Lola Vice to become the new NXT Women's Champion, which Lola Vice had a very, very short reign as champion. I'm thinking they may want to push her up to the main roster sooner than later, because like I said, she's been really hot and that title reign has been really short, and Kendall Gray is kind of like the new next thing, so we'll see. So from there, let's get into the top news of the week.
The big story of the week was this.
All right, the top news of the week. First of all, we're starting out with an article by Mike Lathrop of TWNPnews.com. He's reporting that ESPN has demanded that WWE add more matches to premium live events because TKO's approach of limiting the PLEs to only like 5 matches at the most isn't working. Basically, when TKO took over UFC and WWE, their thing is very, very corporate. They're trying to maximize profits, and so they want to have the least amount of matches in premium live events. What that does is decreases the amount, it controls costs, basically. It brings down the amount of that they have to pay for wrestlers to travel, and also to pay wrestlers for actually wrestling that night. And they've also been cutting live events, which they are talking about now bringing back, basically in efforts to use their roster more sparsely. So ESPN, after paying $1.5 billion over 5 years, doesn't work for them because they want viewers to subscribe to ESPN Plus, and so they want to give them more bang for their buck. Thus became the whole first hour free on cable TV for the live PLEs. So that's where that came in. So now if you notice, the first match or matches or the first hour of a PLE is going to be free, and then the next or the rest will be on Netflix. So that's that. And that's why at Night of Champions, there were 6 matches instead of the normal like 4 or 5 matches. Also, in other news, you have Brian James, or known better as Road Dogg, after his recent WWE, I guess, I won't say, I'll say his release. It looks like he may be going to TNA. In an article by wrestling news sources Ben Karen, by way of Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer, who is a wrestling aficionado. He's in the know on just about everything. Road Dogg, Brian James, was backstage at TNA Slammiversary and apparently helped make some of the matches there, but due to him not having a solid deal, was not at the TV tapings following Slammiversary, but he's expected to have a deal with TNA in the very, very near future, sooner than later. Now, on to what I like to call reckless speculation. So this is stuff that I've seen, don't have a solid source for, that may or may not happen, just me reckless speculating on stuff that I've seen. And normally I don't put it in there because I don't put it as a part of the episode because I didn't have a solid source. But then I thought, why not throw it out? Because it's something that could happen. And hey, if it does come true, then it does. If not, then not. But you can't, don't fault, in other words, don't fault me for it. Don't say, aha, Mach, you told us this and this didn't happen. This is just, like I said, reckless speculation. This is stuff I've seen, stuff I've heard, stuff I've come across. So this time it's talking about who's going to show up in WWE. Who's going to show up first? There's Zilla Fatu. There's Enzo and Cass possibly returning, and Baron Corbin possibly returning. Now, Zilla, I've just seen tons and tons. You'll probably see it if you're a wrestling fan, or maybe if you're just a casual person. But you've probably seen wrestling posts, social media about Zilla Fatu either signing or near signing with WWE. He's been seen at the Performance Center. So anytime now, Zilla could show up. I was thinking he was going to show up maybe at Night of Champions, or not at Night of Champions, but at Backlash when Jacob Fatu fought Roman in Tribal Combat. So didn't happen. Now Enzo and Cass. So this actually has some solid backing to it. This has reports from multiple sources, including Dave Meltzer, saying that Cass, or Big Bill as he is now in AEW, has notified AEW that he will not be returning when his contract expires next week, which further fuels the rumor that he will be coming to WWE. And as far as Real One, or formerly known as Enzo Amore, I know somebody that is actually close to Real One. Man, I may just reach out to that person and see if they'll give me any info on that, and hopefully have an update next week for you. Now, Baron Corbin, he's now going by Bishop Dyer on the indie circuit and in MLW. Again, this actually comes from a few credible sources, but this is actually put together by AI. This report basically saying that he is in contract dispute with MLW. Basically, both sides are saying that they're at an impasse. That added on to the fact that he's completed all of his indie show up dates, his indie wrestling dates. He's finished with that. So that opens the door for him to return to WWE. And as I said in previous episodes, that the locker room has been pushing for him to come back, or pushing for WWE to bring Baron Corbin back, because he was well liked amongst the locker room. So, if either one of those show up in WWE, that'll be a great week. But only one show can be living their best week. Now, this is the part where I break it down for you what's going on in the world of wrestling, because there's many different companies. Wrestling is on just about every night of the week. And the only part that you need to know mostly is the main event, and that normally happens at the end of the show. So we're going to start off with Collision on Saturday. That's AEW. That's on TNT at 5 p.m. You had Mercedes Moné and Athena defeating Maya World and her normal partner, Hyena. And Mercedes and Athena, after the match, attacked Hyena, but Maya World basically clocked them both. And so she got some get back for Mercedes beating her in the final round of the Owen Hart tournament. Then we move on to WWE Monday Night Raw, which is on Netflix at 5 p.m. You had Roman at the end of the show coming out to make an appearance, address the audience, basically give a state of the table, since he's the head of the table, a state of the tribe, when he is immediately interrupted by Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins not only gave him gave good grounds for a match at SummerSlam for the title. He gave a great promo. He basically said, "Look, Roman, it was very It was very much like an anti-promo. So in a promo, you're normally talking down about your opponent. You're normally, disrespecting them. But he was very complimentary, and basically said, You know, Roman, you've had a great career, a great reign, 4 years as champion. You've beaten everybody that there is to beat. And when we came in as the Shield, we basically knocked down doors and basically kicked the older generation out. But now we're getting old and we're pretty much at the back nine of our careers. And these young cats are coming in and they're going to do the same thing to us sooner than later. So when you retire, the only one you haven't beat is me. And I've owned you ever since I put that chair in your back. And what he's referring to is when Seth Rollins basically broke up the Shield and turned on him. And he said, he reminded him that he stole the main event with his Money in the Bank cash-in, whether it was him and Roman and Brock Lesnar. He reminded him that a couple of years ago, he helped Cody Rhodes in Roman Reigns' reign of terror. So yeah, Roman says, I have to beat you at SummerSlam. So that's how that went off. Then you have NXT Tuesdays on the CW at 5 p.m. when Kaylani Jordan, defeated Tatum Paxley. And post-match, Tatum was attacked by the newest NXT signee, Nikki Blackheart. And she's been very much a standout on the indies. So look out for Nikki Blackheart. She's a big Dominican Republican gal. She uses power and strength mostly. So she could be dominating in NXT. Now, when Wednesday comes, you know what that means. It's AEW Dynamite, and that's on TBS at 5 p.m. You had the first match of the evening was MJF fulfilling his commitment after his team lost at Forbidden Door to giving Mark Briscoe a title shot, which he won. And after that, Kenny Omega had actually issued him a challenge before Forbidden Door. And MJF answered saying, I'll give you a title shot under one condition. So fast forward to the end of the show, Kenny Omega comes out into the ring to basically accept MJF's condition. That condition being, if Kenny Omega loses this match, he can never ever challenge for the AEW World title ever again. And as soon as he finished accepting, MJF attacked him from behind, and the show ended with them brawling backstage and security trying to separate them. Now, TNA, Thursdays. So, towards the beginning of the show, you had the Righteous and you had the System all in the ring with Ricky Sosa, and the Righteous and the System tried to basically recruit Ricky Sosa into their groups. And he told both of them no. Well, actually, he told the Righteous no. He told the System, hell no. And right after that, Bear from the System got in Ricky's face and basically knocked him down. And the Righteous acted like they were standing up for Ricky, got in Bear's face. And then Ricky recovered and knocked the crap out of Bear. And that sparked an all-out brawl. The System jumped on Ricky while the Righteous chickened out. And so it was basically all four members of the Righteous of the System jumping Ricky Sosa, and even Leon Slater, who came down to help, wasn't enough because it was still 4-on-2. And then in the main event, you had Eddie Edwards of the System defeating Leon Slater because of interference from Cedric Alexander, also of the System. And after the match, Cedric Alexander and Eddie Edwards basically jumped Leon Slater, but Ricky Sosa came out to return the favor. And since the odds were even this time, Slater and Sosa, got the upper hand on the System. And Ricky Sosa is now starting out in March as an overseas viral sensation. Now he's coming to the top of the TNA hierarchy. I like that. Keep that in mind now. Then you had SmackDown. Oh, SmackDown. You kind of made me mad. You had Rey Fenix defeating El Hijo de Vikingo from AAA for the well, he defended the AAA Cruiserweight title. What made me mad is El Hijo de Vikingo and Rey Fenix. The reason why I mentioned that match, because it wasn't even in the beginning, it was like in the middle of the show. It was so short and wasted. Those guys are so talented, and WWE fans don't get to see wrestling that acrobatic and that aerial in the WWE. They don't get that. So to see those two go at it, Rey Fenix also, that was a treat, and you could tell the WWE fans were totally with it. They were acting like they've been fed like liver and I don't know, like liver and sardines, and all of a sudden they got lobster, and they were like, oh, and that match was gone like that. So the main event was Cody defeating Jey Uso to become the #1 tender for Sami Zayn's newly won World Championship, which I forgot to mention on Night of Champions. So that was my bad. So, TNA Impact, TNA Impact is living their best week because they've gotten Nick Nemeth as the new TNA champion. They're exploring new territories. They're moving Ricky Sosa up the ladder so that he's more exposed in TNA. And I kind of like that. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Mott Sports West, which is going to be a doozy. And we're going to see what you're watching. And then we're going to talk some food and travel.
Has bad credit been holding you back from getting a new car, a house, or a better job? Visit creditrepairfolks.com. They offer one-on-one consulting and will give you a personal roadmap to removing negative items and adding positive points to your credit score. The first consultation is free, and they're the only ones that offer a money-back guarantee. They also have payment plans available. So what are you waiting for? Visit creditrepairfolks.com today.
Our coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked.
That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins.
All right, y'all. It's Mott Sports West, where we talk about the only teams that matter. The three teams on the West Coast: Lakers, Dodgers, and Rams. That's Lakers, Dodgers, and Rams. Now, this is going to be a little bit longer of an episode because, like I said, we had a lot to go through in the first half, and there's a lot to get through in Mott Sports West. So let's start out with the Rams. Just today, Bleacher Report's Mike Chiara uploaded an article saying that Aaron Donald is fueling the rumors of him coming back because he replied to an Instagram post by Clutch Point NFL that was talking about Aaron Donald unretiring, and he replied with the eyes emoji. So Chiara seems to think that often signals a big announcement. I just hope it's adding fuel and not gaslighting. Let's go to the Dodgers. So the Dodgers, they're in a 4-game series with the Padres. They won Thursday 12-7. Then they won last night 4-3. They play again today at 7:10 p.m. And then they also play Sunday. Now, getting to what I was trying to talk about, the Lakers. Okay, so there's a lot that happened this past week. Number one, LeBron James, gone. So let's talk about who's gone from the Lakers first. So LeBron James, DeAndre Ayton, he got traded to the Washington Wizards in exchange for guard Jaden Hardy and future second-round picks. Then you got Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart left the team to sign with the Spurs and the Rockets respectively. And you got Jackson Hayes, who signed with the Utah Jazz. Now, who might be leaving, who's still there, is Rui Hachimura. He's got a lot of potential suitors, plus the Lakers are trying to re-sign him. Now, let's see who they got. They got the center that they were looking for, the Utah Jazz's Walker Kessler. He got there via sign and trade. And let's see, Sando Kumakalvili, who signed a $52 million deal over 4 years. Colin Sexton, a $19 million contract over 2 years. And Quentin Grimes, a $60 million contract for 4 years. So I'm going to try and keep it short. So go Google those players. Just go Google Lakers trade moves, and it'll tell you what all those 4 players mean to the team and what aspects they're replacing from the players that left. The main thing is, though, Walker Kessler. They finally have a true center that replaced DeAndre Ayton. I'm not going to get into my personal feelings about the Lakers, but I'm just going to say, Laker fans, it was nice knowing you. All right? So we'll be watching the Lakers situation, but what I want to know is what you watching. So I'm going to get into X-Men 97 Season 2. I know it just came out, so I'm going to find some time this week to watch. I guess there's 3 episodes out right now, and I've been dodging reviews of the episodes online. I've been dodging reviews and recaps. So next episode, the W.E.S.T podcast, I'm going to have my review for you and you only. All right. So food and travel, I didn't really go anywhere, but I wanted to kind of give you guys some food and travel hacks that I've learned from traveling and eating food. So I want to go back to my number 1 hack that I tried to tell everybody, but I kind of, slacked off a little bit, but now it's a good time to refresh everybody. But apps, restaurant apps, download every restaurant app that you could think of, everywhere that you've eaten. Download their app, because you can get a lot of free food, discounted food, and it's more than one time too. You can earn points to get free food. Download every app of every restaurant that you go to, every restaurant that you think you might go to. And a lot of times you get free food just for signing up. I know McDonald's was giving out a 10-piece chicken nugget and free fries for signing up. Carl's Jr., I think you got a Famous Star for signing up, or a breakfast sandwich. Also, in the apps, put in your birthday, but here's a hack. This is a 2-for-1 now. Now that you downloaded all these apps, they'll give you free or discounted food on your birthday. But don't put your real birthday in every app. Space them out, because there's how many restaurants, there's 1 billion restaurants out there. So spread your birthday out over the year, because like I said, on your birthday, they tend to give you free food, or like a buy one, get one free. So you trying to get all of that food on your birthday, you're not gonna be able to get it all. So spread it out over the year. Yeah, it may be a little bit dishonest, but whatever. But put in different dates for your birthday, so that way you get different food free or discounted all through the year. So if it is your birthday, happy birthday. Hopefully you downloaded an app or apps and getting some free food. I just had a birthday, got some free Wingstop wings. So all right, so that was actually, no, it was Buffalo Wild Wings. I just got some free Buffalo Wild Wings, and it was actually last weekend that I used it too, because I was watching the pay-per-view. See, so maybe put your birthday like around sporting events. If you watch sports like Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, the World Series, the World Cup, maybe put your birthday around then and get some free food to watch, whatever you're going to watch. So again, for me, that's it. I'm out. I will see y'all next weekend. Peace.